How's it going, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video, and today we're going to be talking about how no goon is the wave. Now, this is just my perspective and my personal experience, so take this with a grain of salt, like always. And basically, in my own personal life, I have cut off gooning, and for me, it's honestly so much better of a way of living, and I feel so much more pure, clean. I don't know how to say it. Just less sluggish and tired throughout the days. I feel more motivated, more driven, and for me, I don't know. I guess I just feel better about myself or better about life in general. And so I really think ever since I've stopped, it's been a really good decision. And today I'm going to explain a little bit of my perspective and why I see it, in that way. And because I feel like nowadays the norm is to goon, and we've heard of nofap and all these things come around, but it's not really the norm right now is to basically goon. And if you don't know what gooning is, I mean masturbation. So, anyways, that's just a term that that the term that's used nowadays, right? But anyways, so for me, for a lot of my life, I gooned, and I thought it was okay, and I thought it was fine, and whatever. But then as I got older, I realized like, hey, like I don't actually feel good doing this. Like, sure, during the moment, when it's happening, it's like, all right, cool. Like, if it feels really pleasurable, it's awesome. But then after, it's like, wait, I'm just like, I feel drained. I feel shitty that I did it, um, and all these negative emotions come up. And so then it made me realize, okay, you know what, like I should probably cut this off. And those emotions may be a sign of trying to tell me, like, hey, this isn't a sustainable action or a sustainable habit, and you should probably stop this. And so, yeah. So, like I said, today I'm going to explain why I see it the way I do. And so yeah, basically yeah. After that, I stopped, and I felt so much better. And I think for me, it really starts with energy, right? Everything is energy, and we have a limited amount of energy in this life. So we have to be very wise on how we're spending that energy. But I think for me, gooning or masturbation is something that really doesn't fulfill you in the long run, right? It's pleasurable, and like I said, it's awesome in the moment, but that's only in the short term. In the long run, it kind of leaves you feeling empty. And so for me, it's kind of like you're doing an action that, sure, it feels good in the moment, but it's not really changing your life for the better. It's not dramatically changing yourself for the better. You're just being a dopamine junkie. You're just seeking dopamine, and you're seeking pleasure, and that's all you're doing. But pleasure is a very, how can I say this, low quality sort of vibration, we can say. And, we try to, at least in life, I think we all try to look for things that fulfill us, right? But I think masturbation doesn't really, or gooning doesn't really do that for us. And so for me, I think that's why no goon is sort of the wave, right? Because okay, I mean, if we have a limited amount of energy, we should probably be saving this energy and spending it on things that actually do change our lives, that do better our lives, right? And I think when you are on no masturbation or no goon, I think you are saving that energy. I mean, if we think about it, right, when you goon, you usually feel after sluggish, tired, unmotivated, drained, and you just don't feel like doing anything at all. And not only that, but at least in my personal experience, I tend to just continue seeking dopamine after, right? I try to look for food to eat, and not even good food like junk food. I try to find entertainment to watch. I try to find some sort of stimuli or pleasure to kind of stay on the dopamine high. And usually those days end up not really productive at all. So yeah, for me, it doesn't really seem like a wise way to spend your energy, right? Because again, you feel drained after. When you goon, you literally are spending energy, right? Um, again, just the act itself, like, you're drained after. It's a physical act. You're spending energy, and and for me, I think this energy, we can call it like sexual energy. There's this concept called sexual transmutation. And basically, the idea is that with this sexual energy, instead of releasing it through masturbation or gooning, you can actually transfer that energy into something, something else and something productive usually. It can be working out, it can be reading, it can be cleaning, cooking, going to see a friend. I don't know. It can literally be anything, right? A lot of people say working out because it's sort of like, you're using like the same drive, I guess, or I don't know, it's just something, working out something physical, right? So you're kind of like, again, using that energy towards that sexual energy towards working out. And so for me, I think this is what makes No Goon actually so powerful, is that you're saving your energy, right? And you're actually applying those things to something that will change your life or will change you as a person. And I think for me, again, that's the most valuable thing about no goon, right? Because if we think about it, when you goon and you're wasting that energy, think about the amount of things you can be doing with that energy or putting that energy into, right? That will actually change your life, not just seeking pleasure over and over again, right? So for me, the energy aspect is probably the most important, right? The other thing is that with no goon, you're not really again, you're not really connecting with anybody. You're just kind of it's like biologically hacking your body. It's like you found the cheat code, you found the button to spam to get pleasure, and you're just constantly spamming. But if you think about masturbating or gooning, it's kind of an insane act, right? You're just usually looking at a screen and you're just hunched over and you're just going crazy. And it's like, that's not really, if from a third person perspective, it's kind of, it's insane behavior, right? And I think biologically, our bodies were designed to use this energy, to use this drive, this sexual energy, to actually, like, have intimacy with another human being, to connect, right? And when you're just doing it with yourself, it just doesn't make sense. It's kind of an insane act. And so I think there's also, in this weird way, that you're kind of training your mind to expend your, or whatever, spend your sexual energy in that way by yourself, right? And again, it becomes a habit. Enough times you do it, it sort of just becomes second nature, right? But if we think about it, that's not a fulfilling habit to have, right? We want to be, trying to do things that are fulfilling, and we can have that sexual energy in something that actually will make us fulfilled, like doing it with a partner and connecting and sharing that intimacy, etc. And so for me, that's a way wiser, way better way of using that sexual energy, right? But I think this bad habit that you create of spending your energy that is just for pleasure, I think is, again, a really bad habit, and it kind of distorts your worldview a little bit, right? I think it actually makes you more lustful. It makes you more, how can I say this? Yeah, it just makes you more lustful, right? The kind of the trap about, I think, gooning or masturbation is that you think by masturbating or gooning you'll take away the sexual urge, but it actually just, your sexual urges actually grow after you give into the goon or the masturbation, after you give into the temptation, right? And so yeah, it's kind of weird. It's like, wait, you thought that by doing it you'd be good, and yeah, you're good in the moment, but then if you observe, you're just, in your mind you become more of a gooner and more lustful, and you want more pleasure. It's never enough, right? It's never enough when you do things solely for, like, we can say pleasure. And I'm not talking about joy. Joy, I think there's a distinction between something like joy that is more higher quality of contentment, but pleasure is more that low seeking, like, quality frequency, like, going to McDonald's and just, wanting junk food, or wanting, I don't know, wanting to smoke weed. These sort of actions, right? So basically, I think by giving in to the gooning or masturbation, it makes you more lustful, and I think you start to probably objectify women, and just kind of see them as like a sex object, right? Instead of as an actual human being. And I think it does do something to your relationship with women, and especially in your romantic life. I think it does affect it. And I think the last thing is, well, for one, I think when it comes to corn, right? Um, I think corn is, I think for the most part, everybody can agree, or see that corn isn't good, right? Again, it's just another insane act when you think about it from an outside perspective. You're watching two people have intercourse, and you're just virtually in the background, and just you know going crazy. It's literally insane, right? And for me, I think corn is definitely low frequency, and it's so unnatural. It's like, if you want to talk about living a life, don't you want to be that person in the video, right? Like, don't you actually want to be out there and, connecting with women, or whatever you're attracted to, men or women, and, just going out there, talking to people, meeting them, having that sort of experience of connecting with people, rather than just staying in your home and just, you know what I mean? Like, gooning from an outside perspective. It's just insane, right? If you want to live life, it's like you gotta have a fulfilling sex life, a fulfilling romantic life, and that requires going out and actually, putting in the work, you know, being social, going to events, connecting with people, having conversations, um, these sort of things, exploring. And so I think corn just completely takes that away, right? It tries to substitute everything. And again, it's training your mind, right? Everything you do conditions your mind and trains your mind. So when you watch corn on a consistent basis, it's like you're training your mind that you can just get sex without doing anything, right? You just, like that, boom, without no, getting first to meet the person, talk to them, go wow, and kind of go through that slow process until what it inevitably leads to. No, you just automatically boom. So then you never give yourself the chance to actually learn how to connect with, to someone you're attracted to, or somebody you're sexually attracted to, right? The corn just takes that out completely. And so, yeah, I think for the most part, corn is just a no no. Again, I'm really also big into feeling. So if you really pay attention while you're doing it, it's just a low frequency, right? It's just this sort of low quality pleasure that I'm talking about. And so for me, those are sort of the reasons why I think no goon is the wave. I think no corn at all whatsoever, right? Is way better. Like, if you goon with no corn, I think that is definitely way better. But I think probably the ideal is no goon, right? Like I said, I'm really big into the sexual transportation, and using that, transferring that energy to something else, something more productive. And because I'm telling you, you do, I think, expend and waste a lot of energy when you do goon. And so, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much my perspective, guys. Let me know what you guys think about it down below in the comment section. I'm still trying to learn all this stuff, and I'm just, we're all just trying to be happy, live fulfilling lives. And I think this is a really important topic. I think it's something that we need to talk about. Again, our culture doesn't really talk about, things when it comes to sex and masturbation. It's very taboo, but I think it's very important that we talk about it, and especially when, I've seen a lot of things come up how, we're in a very an era of, people are not having sex, especially younger people. It's probably, I think, the lowest amount of people having sex than ever before. And so obviously, yeah, it's like, okay, we need to talk about this, and everyone kind of living virtually, and being a little bit more autistic than before, not being as socialized, it is definitely affecting this trend that we're seeing with people not having sex. But I think masturbation plays a big part in it, and yeah, I think it's something important to talk about, something important to explore, and I really think No Goon is the wave to, again. I think if we all save more of our energy and try to use it into more productive things, I think we can all better the world, or make the world a little better. And so yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Maybe you got some value out of it. I don't know. Again, I'm just sharing my perspective, and that's pretty much it. I love you guys all. Thank you so much for watching. May God bless you all, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace, y'all.